I want to start today by looking at your phone. Or more specifically, what happens when you open up LinkedIn or Instagram on, say, a Monday morning?
Oh, I know this feeling.
You know the drill, right? You're
Yep.
scrolling, maybe putting off that report you have to write, and then you just get hit with it. The commandments of modern life.
The picture from a hammock in Bali.
Yes. And the caption is always, do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life.
It's the ultimate dream, isn't it? Find your flow, follow your passion.
Exactly. And it's so seductive because it tells us something we really, really want to hear.
Yet the answer is inside us.
That the secret to a good life and, a good career is found inside our feelings. If I'm enjoying it, if time disappears, if I'm in the zone, then I must be on the right path. That's the North Star.
It creates the simple little equation in our heads. Enjoyment equals righteousness. If it feels good, it must be the yoga of work.
But today, we're going to take that hammock and we are going to set it on fire.
A little dramatic, but okay.
Because we are deep diving into a text called Beyond Mindless Labor, which is a commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. And I have to be honest with you and with you listening, this material is not here to make you feel good about your side hustle.
No, it's challenging. It suggests this modern advice isn't just fluffy, it's a dangerous half-truth.
Half-truth is putting it nicely.
Yeah.
The text actually argues that what we call following our passion is often just us being a bogey.
A seeker of pleasure.
Right. A pleasure seeker, pretending to be a yogi, seeker of truth.
That is a serious accusation.
It is. It's saying that just because I'm working hard and I'm loving it, I might actually be, delusionally selfish?
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
And the mission for us today in this deep dive is to really shatter that self-help version of karma yoga.
Okay.
We need to look at this text for what it claims to be, a moksha shastra.
A scripture for liberation.
Exactly. And liberation isn't about being comfortable. It's about waking up.
All right, so let's wake up. But I want to push back right away. Because I think most people would say, look, if I'm focused and I'm productive and I'm not stressed out, isn't that the goal?
That's the modern goal, for sure.
But the source material just throws a wrench in the gears with this analogy that I found. I mean, it's kind of funny, but also deeply disturbing. It asks us to look at a bank robber.
It's a brilliant analogy. It really is.
Yeah.
Because it forces us to strip away our own moral biases and just look at the mechanics of the action itself.
Right. So visualize this. We're in a heist movie. You've got the master thief. He's cracking a safe.
Laser focused.
Totally laser focused. Listening to the tumblers click. He isn't thinking about his laundry. He's not worrying about his mortgage. He is fully present. He's in the ultimate flow state.
I mean, by every modern definition of mindfulness and productivity, he is crushing it.
He is. He's enjoying the process. He has total clarity. And this is crucial. In that specific moment, he isn't even anxious about getting caught.
He's detached from the result because he's so immersed in the action.
So here is the million-dollar question, or I guess the stolen million-dollar question. Does this make the thief a karma yogi? Is he doing spiritual work?
And the answer, according to the Gita in this text, is a hard, absolute no.
But why? I mean, if the internal state is identical, focus, joy, presence, what's the difference between him and, say, a monk sweeping the floor?
The difference is one word, dharma.
Dharma.
The thief is committing what the text calls vikarma, which translates to a forbidden or a wrong action. You see, the thief is acting on a mindless whim.
You're doing what he wants to do?
Precisely. He's following his passion, sure, but his passion happens to be theft.
So flow is not the barometer for right action.
Not at all. The text references chapter 16, verse 24, Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te. And it means that the standard for what you should do, it isn't your mood. It isn't your vibe.
It's not whether you're having fun.
No. The standard is Shastra, the code of righteousness, the scripture.
Wow, okay. That's a tough sell for a modern audience. You're basically saying my internal feelings, my joy, my boredom, my excitement are completely irrelevant to whether my work is valuable.
Irrelevant might be too soft a word. The text would say they can actually be misleading.
How so?
Well, if your passion harms someone or if it disrupts the social order, it doesn't matter how much flow you have. It's just obstinacy. It's just your ego playing games. Karma yoga starts with right action, not fun action.
Okay, I see the point with the bank robber. That's an extreme case.
Yeah.
But what about when the right action makes you absolutely miserable. The text brings up Arjuna.
Arjuna, the warrior prince.
Yeah, and we usually think of him as this stoic hero, like a statue in a museum or something.
But if you actually read that first chapter of the Gita, he's a mess. He's not stoic at all. He's having a full-blown panic attack.
Totally. He's on the battlefield, he has to fight his own family, his cousins, his teachers, and he is literally crying.
Dropping his bow.
Yeah.
Wants to run away.
He wants to run away to the mountains and become a monk. He is begging Krishna, please let me quit my job.
Right. He did not want to fight. It was not his passion. He certainly wasn't enjoying the process of having to kill his own relatives.
But Krishna tells him he must fight. Why?
Because it is his swadharma.
His duty.
His specific duty as a warrior in that specific situation is to uphold righteousness. If he runs away, he isn't being spiritual, he's being a coward, he'd be abandoning his post.
So the takeaway here is kind of brutal. It's basically saying, do the job you're supposed to do, even if you hate it, even if it makes you cry.
Yeah, it takes that do what you love sticker right off the bumper, doesn't it?
It peels it right off. But there's more to it, right? It's not just suck it up and be miserable.
No, that's not yoga, that's just masochism. The text is leading us to a much deeper psychological shift. It's about how we relate to the doing of the work. And that brings us to the second big illusion the source wants to bust, the problem of the I.
The ego.
Specifically, the concept of kartapan.
Kartapan. Let's define that before we move on.
Sure, kartapan translates to the sense of doership. It's that deep gut-level belief that I am the one generating this action. I am writing this code. I am closing this deal.
Which, I mean, that feels objectively true. If I don't type, the screen stays blank. I am the doer.
Well, in a physical sense, yes, your hands are moving, but the text argues that this psychological attachment, this idea that I am the cause, is the root of all anxiety.
Why?
Because if I am the doer, then I am responsible for the result. It becomes a transaction, I put in effort, so I demand a reward, and if that reward doesn't come,
then I'm crushed.
Yeah.
Or I'm angry. Or feel like a failure.
Exactly. So as long as you have kartapan, you can't actually follow that advice. Don't worry about the result. You can say it, you can put it on a poster, but you can't do it.
Because the I always demands a return on its investment.
Always.
So we're trapped. We're wired to care about the result because we're wired to think we're the ones doing the work. How do we break that loop?
You have to change who the doer is. And the text uses another really powerful analogy to explain how a yogi thinks. The analogy of the soldier.
Okay, let's walk through the soldier scenario. This one is pretty heavy, so stick with us.
It is. Imagine a soldier on the border. His commander shouts an order, "Fire!" The soldier pulls the trigger. In that act, 10 people are killed. Now.
In a civilian context, if you or I walked out and did that, it's murder. Plain and simple.
Well,
We go to jail. We bear that sin.
right. But the soldier doesn't go to jail. He might even get a medal
Why?
because he was following orders.
He wasn't acting out of personal malice or personal choice.
Precisely. He was acting as a yantra, an instrument. The moral responsibility, the karmic weight of that decision, it lies with the commander who gave the order. The soldier was just the mechanism.
He surrendered his agency to a higher authority.
Exactly.
Okay, I get it in the military context. But how does this apply to me sitting in a marketing meeting? I don't have a commander shouting fire. I have a boss asking for a slide deck.
Well, for the karmic yogi, there is a commander. The yogi adopts exactly that mindset in relation to the universe, or to God. The text explains that a true practitioner views their body, their intellect, their talents, not as theirs.
So you view your own brain as government property.
Huh. In a way, yes. You see your actions not as your personal projects to build your personal brand, but as duties executed under God's command. And remember, God's command here isn't a voice from the sky.
It's Dharma.
It's that code of right action we talked about earlier.
So you become the instrument. You become a nimitta.
Yes, a nimitta, a pretext or an instrument. And just think for a second about what that does to your anxiety levels. The text suggests that modern burnout doesn't come from the volume of work we have. We can work 14 hours a day on something we love and be fine.
Right.
Burnout comes from that crushing psychological burden of, it all depends on me.
I have to save the company. I have to prove my worth.
And if you shift your mindset to just being an instrument, that weight vanishes, doesn't it?
It has to. Because you're just executing the order. The outcome is not your burden to carry. The commander carries the burden.
Now, I can hear the skeptic right now. They're saying, that sounds like a great way to become a passive robot. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. Isn't there a danger in losing your agency?
That's a great question.
It feels like losing agency to the ego because the ego wants control. But the yogi sees it as gaining alignment. You aren't passive, you are hyperactive.
The soldier on the border isn't sleeping.
Not at all. He's alert, he's skilled, he is dangerous, but he isn't anxious. And that is the key difference.
It's active surrender, not passive giving up.
Exactly. And this connects directly to something the text calls the corporate trap. This is so relevant right now because every company has a wellness program. They want you to meditate, they want you to practice mindfulness.
Oh, totally. Come to our breathing workshop so you can hit your Q4 targets.
Right. And the source argues that this is a fatal error. The corporate world is trying to secularize karma yoga. They want the focus of the yogi, that bank robber focus. But they want to strip out the devotion of the yogi. They say, forget God, forget Dharma, just be mindful of your spreadsheet.
And why doesn't that work? I mean, why can't we just have secular karma yoga?
Because without that supreme power, without God in the equation, karma yoga just collapses back into labor. And labor is exhausting. Think about it. If you are just a battery and you keep outputting energy, eventually you're going to drain. You need a source to plug into.
And the source is that connection to the divine.
Yes. If there is no higher power to whom you can dedicate the action, the self has to absorb everything. The self has to absorb the stress, the boredom, the failure. The text warns that this leads directly to burnout. You're working without a spiritual outlet.
So let's get practical. We've torn down the do what you love myth. We've established that we need to stop being the doer, but how do we actually do this? The text gives a formula,
Yeah.
a 3-step process.
Yeah.
Let's break it down step by step for someone listening on their commute.
Okay. Step 1 is what we started with, right action.
Which means choosing your action based on duty and scripture, not your personal whim.
Correct. So you wake up, you don't ask, what do I feel like doing? You ask, what is required of me today? If you're a parent, your duty is to your child. If you're an employee, your duty is to your contract. You align with Dharma.
Okay, step 1, do the right thing, even if you'd rather stay in bed. What's step 2?
Step 2 is the real game changer. It's called Ishwar Arpan Bhuti.
Ishwar Arpan Bhuti. Say that again.
Ishwar Arpan Bhuti. Ishwar means God. Arpan means offering. Bhuti is your intellect or your mindset. So it means doing the work with the specific mindset that this action is an offering to God.
So I'm not just sending an email to Dave in accounting.
No.
I am, in my mind, placing a flower at an altar.
Mentally, yes. You visualize the action itself as an act of worship. And imagine how the quality of your work would change. If you're cooking a meal for a guest you love, you cook with attention and care. If you believe you are cooking a meal for God, you are going to be impeccable.
So it actually increases quality. You aren't slacking off because, oh, God doesn't care about typos.
God definitely cares about typos if your duty is to be a writer. You do it perfectly because it is an offering. That is Ishwar Arpan Bhuti.
Okay, so I've done the right action. I've offered it up mentally. Now comes the part we all dread, the result. Step 3.
Step 3 is Prasad Bhuti.
Explain prasad.
So if you go to a temple in India, you give an offering. And usually the priest gives you something back, a sweet, a flower, maybe some fruit. That is prasad. It is a gracious gift from the deity.
And you take it with both hands. You eat it reverently. You don't look at the cookie and say, ew, I wanted a chocolate one.
You would never. You don't complain about prasad. It is sacred. So prasad bhuti means accepting the result of your work, whatever it is, as that sacred gift.
That is, wow, that's profound. So let's apply it. I work my tail off on a project, I offer it up, and then the project flops. My boss hates it. I get 0 likes.
If you have prasad bhuti, you say, this failure is prasad. It is God's will. There is a lesson here for me, or a redirection. You accept it without bitterness.
And what if the project is a massive success? If I get a promotion and everyone loves me?
You say, this success is prasad. It is God's grace. It is not my achievement.
Which stops you from becoming an arrogant jerk.
Exactly. It eliminates the highs of ego when you win and the lows of depression when you lose. That emotional roller coaster just flattens out. You stay steady. That is the yoga part equanimity.
It really sounds like a superpower. But I have to play the skeptic again. Why? Why go through all this mental gymnastics? Is it just to be the most chill person in the office? Is it just a coping mechanism for stress?
And that is the trap. We think spirituality is just another productivity hack.
Right.
We think, oh, if I do this karma yoga stuff, I'll be more efficient. The text is very clear that stress relief, efficiency, better focus, Those are just side effects of the bells and whistles.
So what is the real goal? What's the point?
The only real goal of karma yoga is chitta shuddhi,
Kita Shuddhi.
purification of the mind.
Purification from what?
From ego, from ragdavesha. Our constant likes and dislikes, our addiction to I want this, I don't want that. When you act out of duty rather than your preference, and when you sacrifice the desire for the fruit of your labor, you are essentially starving the ego. You're melting it away.
And why do we want to melt the ego? What's the end game there?
Because the ego is the veil. The text argues that only when the ego is gone can self-realization actually happen. You stop identifying with the little I, the anxious, hardworking, stressed-out employee, and you realize your true nature.
So you aren't doing this to be a better worker. You were doing this to be free.
You're doing it to escape the trap of Maya, of illusion. The worker becomes a conscious instrument. It's a moksha shastra, a path to liberation.
We've covered a lot of ground here. We've gone from do what you love all the way to do your duty, give up the sense that you're the one doing it, and accept whatever happens, good or bad, as a gift from God.
It is a radical shift, a total 180 from modern advice.
It is. And honestly, it's not what you're going to find in the business section of the bookstore. It's that bitter pill we mentioned at the start. It tells you that your personal happiness, in the immediate sense of having fun, it just doesn't matter. Your dharma matters.
It tells you that you aren't the main character of the movie. You're a character being directed.
Which is a huge blow to the ego.
Yeah.
I want to be the main character.
Yeah.
But I guess if I'm not the main character, I don't have to carry the weight of the entire plot on my shoulders.
That is the ultimate promise. By becoming nothing, by becoming just an instrument, you gain everything. By giving up the agency, you lose the anxiety.
I want to leave you, the listener, with a thought to mull over. It's a bit of a challenge. Look at the work in front of you today, the email, the meeting, the chores, and ask yourself, if the fun stopped tomorrow, if the accolades stopped, if the pay was just enough to survive, if no one was watching, would you keep doing it?
Is it your duty, or is it just your ego having a snack?
That's the difference between being a yogi and just being a laborer. The choice, as the text says, is yours. Thanks for diving deep with us.
See you next time.